Our brand new power plant edition is running reasonably well. I've added in a second stack of generators, and it's been kind of just making stuff and doing things pretty nicely. Hello, everybody. This is Frogman. Welcome back to Captain of Industry. Man, it's been a couple of days. I've been kind of fiddling with things, trying to get stuff to run correctly, and I realized, I made a massive mistake over here with these because, well, as we were moving power technically away from here, we're also moving the steam output away from here. So I went ahead and refed all the steam back into our wonderful little thermal desalinators so I could at least keep these all nice and topped up. And if I guess we have a problem with the problem, we can use these over here. I'll probably be decommissioning these shortly, but I have been running a little bit of science, been doing a little bit of in the background work. I've been fighting with the just general overall running out of the normal things that we've been running out of, to the point that I'm actually going to start working on, and I guess we can take a quick run to the other side of the island before we continue on with what's going on. I have decided it is now time to attempt to build that land bridge between here and there because we are almost out of coal. And by mean almost out of coal, I mean I'm probably going to have to run for a good period of time off of coal on something else and I'm actually kind of contemplating doing a bunch of other things. Biggest issue here is this is our last batch of coal on this island until we start hauling down asteroids. When and if that will ever happen, hopefully it does. This is buried under a lot of rocks, and I have to dig a bunch of rocks to get some kind of something over here. Plus, I still have a whole bunch of trees that need chewed up, and we have the aluminum patch that is nearest to us here. So I'm going to start starting the coal patch, the thing that was coal and sand and all of that other stuff, has now moved on, filled in this hole, and we're now going to start dumping or digging rock here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dump the rock right here for the time being until we have a decent channel dug through this mountain that we can then start laying that causeway. And then what I'm going to do is, we'll just come back over here, dig that back up, I suppose. Level this side of this area, start digging up this aluminum, and also try to get to the coal, hopefully. If not, we're going to have to start maybe really thinking about how we want to do things as far as delivering coal to the base. I believe we're currently at the numbers that we're running, eating something like 350 coal per minute when everything is running, which is less than what this can handle when it's going. I believe our current situation here, I think I can upgrade this one more time and get a little bit more use out of it, but at max it's 192, and that is not enough to keep us working, so at least working and running science. So I've been trying to just carefully weasel my way through, I guess, and squeeze what little bit of stuff I can out of what's left of this island and a few other things, but we may have to start rejigging certain usages, namely, and I'm going to say namely, probably, well, the power for our water needs to stop being coal in several places. I would use these, however, they are incredibly power hungry for the amount of water that you get out of one of these. So we may end up starting to move a little bit towards using some of our fuels that we have over here. Granted, I'm not doing all that great on hydrogen because we've been launching rockets like crazy. Fluid storages, I suppose we could start using some fuel gas and a few things, and I can always, for what it's worth, process the diesel that we are not currently using into the other two fuels that we can burn into those boilers. There seems to be a kind of a late game, and I'm going to get in here before we finish off doing what we were doing. There seems to be a little bit of a late game balance that needs to be worked on, because I get it, I'm capable of making all kinds of power at this point in time, and in reality I could just go ahead, fire all these up and let them go to work and do the things that we need to do, sure, but it just doesn't feel right to me to just waste, or I'm not even saying waste power, burn electricity just to make the water that we need when we should have a better way of doing it past this or past whatever. And I know there's plenty of ways to do it. I suppose the next step is probably to start throwing down solar panels and then making those solar panels power those. That is something that is possible. I'm not in the mood to try to do that kind of thing for right now. And well, we're just going to see how far we can go on the skeleton mess that we've got. So at the end of last episode, we had a couple of things going over here, and I said that I was going to continue to run a few things until we had everything going. So we now have a full tank of blanket fuel and a full tank of enriched blanket fuel, as well as a full tank of core fuel. We're currently burning at 8 core fuel per minute to keep all 8 of those things running, which is fantastic. And every time it cycles, it makes another, hey, I guess it's 8 core fuel, blanket fuel into enriched blanket fuel. Now, the thing that's interesting about this is that these tanks, this tank specifically, is an interesting one because it's an output. It's a thing that we're going to be outputting something we can use, but there's an optional output. As it says here, optional excess output is discarded without blocking production, meaning that we're going to continuously produce the enriched blanket fuel regardless of whether we need it. So our best option for this stuff is to do a couple of things that I've already done, which is, for now, I've been just testing a couple of things. For now, I've shut off the enrichment plant over here that is currently working on this, and I actually need to finish decommissioning it because I don't need it anymore, so we can go ahead and get rid of that thing, and they can put the stuff where they need to put the stuff. This doesn't need to be here anymore because we're not going to be using that process to try to run that. What we're going to eventually do, and I probably was looking at this here just a little bit ago before I started doing this, and I realized, hey, you need to start recording, is that I also need to set a recipe in here, likely, that says, if I'm full up on core fuel on this line, I would like you to, or something, I don't know. There's multiple recipes that we can do with this stuff, so I can either make plutonium and shove plutonium into this particular thing that's going to make 4 of these, or I can take and do the 2 enriched uranium and turn that into 4 of these. The only thing is as you look at the recipes here, it's 16 into 12 plus 1, or 16 into 12 plus 2. I kind of wonder why they even bothered giving you 2 recipes when you're just going to pick the one that's going to be the easiest for you and run it. So what we can do if we want to in here is, instead of using this recipe to create the core fuel in this particular machine, I can run it and make the plutonium. Now, the reason why we care about the enriched uranium is in a future step, we're going to need to be able to make reactors for the little things that'll be able to pull down for the little critters, the ships and the launchers and the boosters and all that stuff that will be able to pull down asteroids. But that's not anytime soon. So in reality, you're just better off letting it run and do this one particular research here. And then once you're done, when you have enough, I should say, if you have enough, and we're making more than enough, I think at this point in time right now, I should be able to run this at least to there. Yeah, I think I'm making enough to run it at least to there right now, if not to here. So we're going to kind of keep it just sitting right where it's at, happily, plugging along, making things. But I'm at a point right now where I'm making excess stuff. So what I did was I shut this process off, at least for now. We're pausing our spent MOX reprocessing in here. I've paused this because it's it's making things that I don't want right now. Let me just put it like this. It's making fission product, and I don't need fission product, or I don't need any more fission product than I've already got, because we're waiting on this here. So this system, every time it runs, it's going to dump in and make another 12 core fuel and some fission product. But in the process, we're slowly but surely filling this thing up, and it needs to run another disposal. So I believe, gone ahead and added in a secondary line in here somewhere. I thought I did this. I should have done this in here. Yes, I did. There should be a line in here that will allow us to get from one of these to the other should something happen, and I think we're going all the way down here. Anyhow, we should be okay for right now, and I've shut both of these off, at least for the time being, because we have had way too much playing around with now that I've got some stuff going. I did, however, go ahead and stuff in a chemical plant over here that is going to take some of that enriched blanket fuel and some of that salt and a bunch of our depleted uranium that we're currently producing and turning that into blanket fuel. This is just getting rid of trash, essentially. So that's all that's doing. I'm just basically taking 2 of these, turning into 4 of those, which in here will turn them into 4 of these. So it's all I'm doing is using a little bit of trash to make more trash, technically. So we've actually managed to clean up a decent amount of this initial pile that is slowly going to go away. I don't know how much I'm going to do with this. Again, you're kind of at this spot where this is a fiddly little point, and we kind of just tend to do things just for the funsies of it. I can, however, as the way this goes, start to move away from both of these two reactors because of the fact that this is now capable of running all of at least one side of this. So we're currently running the max out of one of these. So theoretically, if I want to, I can shut this one down and then maybe rip all of this stuff out, move it back a little bit, and then build another one right here, and then start removing some of this extra processing in here. So our extra processing, this stuff that's sitting right here, as we stated the last time, in reality, all I need now is, well, a chemical plant or two. That's all we need. We just need a chemical plant or two. So this is going to continuously produce the enriched blanket fuel that we're going to be, using. Enriched blanket fuel, if we look at it, this stuff right here, again, like I said, I can make the core fuel that I need to run the thing out of it, but I can also make the parts that we need for the other stuff later on. All I have to do is continuously make blanket fuel. Well, we can make blanket fuel, as I stated, with just yellow cake and salt, or blanket fuel enriched, depleted uranium, and salt. Or, and this is the other process, the one we're currently using, this one, the spent fuel that's coming out of these reactors. Now, it's much more efficient and time-saving to be making blanket fuel out of yellow cake, because right now it takes X amount of yellow cake here. So 2 of these can feed 4 of these and produce a little bit of stuff power-wise. Well, I can just stop using these guys right here. So I've got 2 of them here. 2 of these can get plugged straight into a chemical plant and make the blanket fuel that we need, and stop this silly process up here. So as the way that this works, you're going to get, basically, it takes, what is this, 4 of these enrichment plants to produce enough uranium 4% and the leftovers to be able to run one of these nuclear reactors wide open. And then we take 2 of the spent stuff here that has already done a little bit of work, and then turn that into 1 plutonium, and that 1 plutonium is then again turned into 4 core fuel, which this is the primary way that we're making the majority of our power right now, or at least the majority of the stuff. I mean, we're doing the reprocessing here, sure, and I'm doing a little bit of processing here, sure, but for in reality's sake, I can get rid of all of these processors right here, turn that stuff straight into blanket fuel that is immediately turned into blanket fuel enriched, flipped around, dumped into a system that is then made into core fuel, and just cycles and cycles and cycles and cycles. So it's half the steps. I mean, not half steps, but it's a good reduction in steps, and it's a good reduction in power loss, because we'll gain back 16 megawatts of power if I just shut these 4 things off. That's a big deal. That's the beginning of the big deal. And then I don't have to deal with this stuff either. It eats its own waste, which is what's beautiful about it. It eats its own waste, essentially. So future episode, we are going to work on that. We do need to do a couple of other things. I just kind of wanted to touch a little bit on what's going on. And I have to figure out how I can surgically remove a few things before I do it. I have to figure out which side I want these to be on. And to be fair, what I may do is just carefully shut all of this down for now, and then just try to run as much as I can off of this one reactor, because theoretically all I have to do is complete this line right here, and we'll have the same amount of power that we have. So then what we'll just do is we'll just run these guys until we run out of all of the rods that we have, and then decommission the plants and start over from scratch, which means maybe what I can do at that point is maybe move some of this stuff around and get rid of it over time. I don't know. I still have this sitting here. I never got to fill it, and it's going to sit there because we may or may not need it eventually anyway, but that's just something else that I can look at as far as things go. But yeah, that would get rid of a lot of, well, I mean, it would get rid of, well, I think it would get rid of everything down here, because I don't think I'd need anything for the hydrogen fluoride anymore. We'd still need I think I need the acid. You need acid. You need acid. Yeah, so you'd still need acid for the reprocessing of the fuels and the core fuels and whatnot. That's still there. But I think as far as everything else goes, like this, we'd still need it so that we can process the wastewater that's coming out of these. But yeah, I think like that, all of this goes away. The hydrogen fluoride goes away. And the processing of the depleted uranium goes away once we, maybe knock that down a little bit more, but once we run completely out of the depleted uranium, that's something that we can do and continuously do is if we feel like it, or I can just leave that stuff over there in a pile. But once we stop doing this, then the depleted uranium will go away fairly quickly. So yeah, it's just going to be one of those things. I'm going to have to sit down. I might try to do a little bit of work off camera and slowly decommission or deconstruct a few things here, and then we see where we go. So enough prattling for the day on that. We will discuss that again in a future episode while I continue to do a little bit of backing up and messing around. We are almost through this mountain over here. Finally, they're almost there. It's only been a 100-year progress thing, however that goes. So once they knock that hole through there, I'm going to run a rail line out to here, and we're going to start mining that thing because we're going to need a massive amount of sand. And I'm kind of done playing with this hole over here, even though I still managed to keep finding a whole lot of sand. We're awful deep into the water over here at this point, and there is plenty of, well, there's still plenty of sand. We're kind of playing that same thing we were many episodes ago, where I was like, do I really want to keep digging into this wall to try to find some more usable stuff? But when you're looking at it like that, this one is a lot taller than the other ones, I think. I don't know, like we can go back over here and look at them. I mean, yeah, I left all those there, and sure, it may be one of those things we don't care about, but we'll see how it goes. We're going to have to do a lot of just kind of working and moving things around, especially considering that coal pile over there is about to go away. I think we'll probably be able to do a couple of more researches, and then we're going to have to start caring about a couple of things. So in between episodes, I did go ahead and turn on a couple of our research labs. I upgraded the space station to be able to run or do at least 2 of the space lab stuff. So we're running 2 of these. The biggest problem that I've been having with, or at least messing around with, is the fact that I had to go and put down another rocket assembly plant so that we could keep enough rockets stocked in these in order to keep them up and working. And I might even build the 3rd. I haven't made up my mind yet because it's been I almost, well, the station almost fell out of the sky while I was working on this. I had to kind of get a little bit finagly and quickly and put some space crew in both of them so that they could do what they needed to do, so we can at least keep the food and the that stuff in here. That was the thing. It did the dumb thing that it was going to do. It got stuck and wanted to put a rocket on this one when there was a rocket on this one and there wasn't a rocket on this one. So, yeah, I think there's still a little bit of logic that kind of messed up with things. But anyhow, we are doing research right now, and I guess I can finish it up. We've got 85% of a few things, and we can kind of mess around. I am currently researching the Rocket 2 so that we can get a rocket that can carry up to 12 people and up to 120 items. However, they're going to get incredibly expensive to make. So I don't know how we're going to go along with this. We'll see what happens when the time flips, but it's going to require me to redo all of the other things. The reason why I'm interested in this is because we're also going to need to start looking at space probe parts, whatever. I knew I was going to say that as soon as I looked at that word. The issue with all of that is going to be that when we get ready to get past this, these are how we find the asteroids that we want to do. We have to be able to pull back, basically. We have to launch space probes and then look for the asteroids. And then when we find an asteroid, we get to spend an umpteen million, however many dollars of monies of things and stuff and parts to be able to pull one of those things back and deliver it. So for now, we're going to let those guys continue to do a little bit of launching. They should have just refilled on parts and fuel and possibly people. We're waiting on a couple of electronics. As always, it has been a kind of a thing. Why are you low? Because you're low. Because you have not done the thing I told you to do. I keep fighting this. Guys, fill that back up for now. Just for now. I know you get mad at me. Just fill it up for now. Please. It's okay. Except for maybe we need to keep that full too. Yeah, it's good. They're doing what they can do. But yeah, it's just been a nonstop battle trying to keep things functioning with this. And I'm at a point now where if I decide to build anything that requires a large amount of any of the construction parts, it takes, I don't know, a half an hour of real-time gameplay to recover from it. And it's getting a little, I'm not going to say much, but it's getting a little painful. So you're going to be doing that. You're going to be doing that. Everything else looks good here. Some mining designations, I think, that are sitting over here. Oh, yeah. We were busy mowing that flat. Don't pause. Just get rid of this for now. I was trying to make sure I had enough room over here to be able to do a few things, so we're good there. That'll take care of that. Coal is low. Sulfur is low again. Go ahead and turn the box on. And we'll go from there. You should be good. And 100% rocket 2. All right, cool. So then everything will calm back down. Does that mean we can still make the regular ones? Okay, so that's an interesting thing. Being able to make the regular ones will save us on a considerable amount of construction parts for a little bit, although I think I should probably do the math on the number of things. So it's going to cost me 480 of the, whatever this stuff is called, the composite panels, 120 of the alloy, same amount of steel, and 16 of the circuit 2, 3s, whatever the heck those things are called. So these are 2s, yeah, electronics 2, electronics 3. Wow, for, what did we say? Triple the capacity. 2 times the capacity. Whatever it is. That's an awful lot of parts. Considering that you're already making, wow, that's... See, that's what I mean. I'm getting to the point where what I need to do is I need to stop and tear into my smelting because I don't have enough. Oh, Lordy. How are you guys doing? We'll put it on like medium and just kind of let things run. You guys are up. Everything is going. I need to get a couple of boxes and some containers filled. There we go. Why did you guys not fill? That's interesting. I don't know whether it's me, but I keep running into little bitty problems. I don't need that train station. You guys weren't supposed to leave until you were full of coal. I mean, it's fine, I get it, but you're not supposed to leave. At least, you know, try to stay full. Huh, okay. But yeah, I think I'm going to get to a point here fairly soon where I'm going to have to start doing things, or maybe I need to add or assign a couple of more of the smaller trucks to these guys just to give them a helping hand, because they've got such a decent distance to drive that they're not doing all that well. I might just need to add a few more trucks. Anyhow, what we'll go ahead and do then is I'm going to let everything kind of settle down, and then probably go ahead and start the next research up, which is going to be this. How many is it? 19? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. So I need to keep the plutonium around. Okay. See, this is what I was worried about. So we need to keep a small stock. That sucks. One thing I did find out, and I don't know if I showed you guys at the end of last episode. I don't think I did, if I recall correctly. We did a kind of a funny thing. I fixed the radiation by making it all one belt. We had a belt lift right here and a belt lift right here, I believe, that was causing that to see something like 70 some odd spent MOX fuel out in the world, which was enough to cause the problem and, you know, have people die or leave or whatever. There's currently 14 out in the world right now. And if I were to turn this one on, I think the total would be something like 30, which was just enough to keep it from being a problem. However, if I need to be able to keep plutonium, plutonium is pretty nasty stuff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Anyhow, let's go ahead and start. Well, like I said, let's kind of let things settle out a little bit. Is this filled up? That's mostly full. I'm gonna let a few of these things kind of settle back in, and I will get back with you guys in a minute. I may just go ahead and let that research run and see what happens. But yeah, I'll be back with you guys in just a little bit. We're basically just kind of at maintenance and doing fun researches right now, and I need to figure out how I'm going to save myself for this coal. Went ahead and made one just for funsies, just to see. I mean, I'm assuming we got a little while before it's going to take off. It didn't. Well, we have a little bit of time. We're currently working on the space probe. We're at 20% of it. Doing science pretty nicely. I'd actually kind of like to be able to get some of these up a little bit further. I mean, if we could do all 4 of them at 132, that'd be great. You know, that's 528 science per minute. That's kind of where I wanted to be for at least the most part of it. So I am fighting with these guys right now because I'm having them still do a little bit of work. And I thought I told them do not dig aluminum, you guys. But we're going to try to build a little bit of a, again, causeway out to here, and then I'm going to start working on probably digging a pathway through here so that we can bring the trains clear out here and possibly shut down this aluminum processing thingy here, or at least maybe leave it sit, and then we'll do what we need to do, and we can just deliver aluminum into this, or maybe we'll build another aluminum plant. Again, I'm kind of contemplating building a completely different area for smelting just by type, so I've kind of been trying to clear this whole top section off, and I think we'll probably try to even build this wall down here and possibly fill that in a little bit so that we can do, you know, iron, copper, aluminum, titanium maybe right here. I realized I built all of this stuff over here because this was here. There's not a lot of titanium over here, and pretty soon we're actually going to have to start digging for it. We're just kind of scraping the surface right now, and again, there's not a whole lot here, so we'll see how far we need to go and with the time and things and the way we go. To be fair, we don't have a lot left to do right now, so you pause. I have places to put aluminum. Go ahead and drop it, and you go back to work. Somebody else still has some over here, I think. Yeah, you got a little bit to drop, pause, unpause, go. Just trying to make the road down here, so we're just gonna kind of cut down the side of this mountain. Anyhow, we'll see what this new rocket looks like here in a second. I'm just going to adjust probably some of that so that they'll stop digging aluminum. Please. Thank you. That looks better. Good. Do we have a rocket ready to go, or is it going to sit there and fiddle around a minute or two? Where are we? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put you back on build all the things. That took a lot of stuff, although this doesn't take very long to build up parts again, but we at least now have storage for various things. Let's do that and then see what happens. Probably going to be the circuits here in just a second.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
You're going to get paused. You don't get to go. There we go. The bigger rocket with all the fun stuff.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
There we go. That's cool, I suppose. Let's see what we sent. We should have sent a... Oh, my lord. So it takes a full load of them up there. Did it waste 120 electronics? Well, excuse me, 60. No, we're 130. Okay, so it's not wasting them. Wow. Okay, well that was fun, but I think we're just going to run the basic simple ones for the time being. I am seriously, again, going to have to sit down and rework smelting and a lot of things because, again, we're just barely scraping things back up. I mean, it's filling up, but it's just barely filling up. So I think we'll let it run for a little while I do a little bit more science here, and then we'll bring it back with at least the unlocking of the space probes. So I'll see you all then. There we go. Just missed the ding. We now have access to the space probes. I don't believe I need to be building any of these until we start doing this, but I guess we can start sending them up once we do a little bit of fiddling around. I'm going to have to start producing plutonium. And I don't know how I want to do all of this. We're going to have to, I'm going to have to build this as close as possible to the nuclear production system because, again, I don't want a whole lot of plutonium sitting out on a belt. I guess that's going to be something for me to figure out in between episodes. This episode's probably going to be long and probably going to be late given the way that I have had to do things this week. So I will see you all in the next episode. We'll play with that next time and see what else we can't get along with. I'm going to have to spend some time fixing a bunch of stuff because I managed to break a few things. And yes, just running constant science for a little while has caused me to run out of a whole bunch of stuff. So I will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.